Chapter 931. The Injured God. Sun Jeping. Those who had only started playing Glory 2 or 3 years ago might not recognize the name, but it wasn't possible for veterans with more than 5 years of experience in Glory to not know this name, especially for berserkers. If they didn't know of Sun Jeping, they were probably lone wolves like Mo Fan. When Yi Shu said this name, apart from Tang Ru and Steamed Bun, everyone else was stunned. Besides those two, everyone else in the room had played Glory for a very long time. All of them recognized him. A god like Sun Jeping had once been all over the TV, news, and internet. However, none of them had ever met him in real life, so when Sun Jeping entered the room, no one had recognized him. When his name was revealed, everyone started to see the similarities. Sure enough, it really was Sun Jeping. Lu Guaning obviously knew this person the best. Sun Jeping. During his career, his fame as the #1 berserker shined even brighter than Yu Feng's current fame. Sun Jeping and Zhang Jiali had entered the alliance before the Golden Generation and were the undisputed best duo. Their greatest achievement happened in the 3rd season of the league. They had led Team 100 Blossoms into the finals. Unfortunately, Yi Chu and Team Excellent Era beat them, completing Team Excellent Era's three-peat championship. This was why Sun Jeping had gnashed his teeth when he saw Yi Chu. He had almost become the champion, but Yi Chu stole the title away from him. After that, when Team 100 Blossoms returned even stronger than before, Sun Jeping injured his hand and left midway through the season. After the season ended, he retired quietly and never returned. Team 100 Blossoms reaching the finals in Season 5 and Season 7 could be attributed to Zhang Jiali alone. Sun Jeping's only chance for the title had been that one time. The others didn't know that the previous confrontation had been between two top gods. Everyone once again fell into shock. When they regained their composure, they all took the same action without any prior agreement. They all looked directly at Sun Jeping's left hand. As the skill level in Glory rose, the effects of an injury became even more clear. Thumbs, wrists, elbows, and shoulders. For a pro player, these needed to be kept in good condition. Perhaps some pain could be tolerated, but in a high skill level competition, any amount of pain would affect the player's ability. The player would naturally be incapable of performing well. There were numerous cases where complications arose for a player because of an injury. However, the most well-known and significant case so far still belonged to Sun Jeping. The injury in his left hand led to his departure from the stage midway through the season. In the end, he retired even more quietly. It had clearly been a very serious injury. Right now, it had been 4 years since Sun Jeping's injury. He had unexpectedly appeared here and fought an intense match with Yi Chu. Had his injury been healed? Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but look at Sun Jeping's left hand. When they looked at it, they saw his left hand was covered in white bandages. Ah! Everyone heard a fearful cry. The source of that cry was Steamed Bun. This is Wicked King Immolation Fist's supreme technique, Dragon of the Darkness Flame, Steamed Bun cried out in awe. Steamed Bun, stop spouting nonsense, Chen Guo was furious. The injury on Sun Jeping's left hand was a huge scar in his heart. Using that to jab at him was too inhumane, even if she knew that Steamed Bun wasn't speaking with bad intentions because Steamed Bun was staring intently and nervously at his boss, Yi Shu. He wasn't actually thinking that Sun Jeping would undo his bandage and actually summon flames from hell to obliterate Yi Shu, did he? Ahem, your hand is healed. Yi Shu probably felt that Steamed Bun's words weren't appropriate, so he immediately changed subjects. Not too good. Sun Jeping looked at his left hand, but it's still enough to beat you. Oh my, how arrogant. Yi Shu patted the table. How about another round? Little Tang, give me your account card. No need, Sun Jeping smiled slyly. If he wanted to forever brag about his win over someone, winning once and then ignoring him afterwards was obviously the safest method. Of course, Sun Jeping and Yi Shu had definitely fought against each other more than once. They were the most famous gods of Glory during the early stages of the alliance. It was just that today, he didn't want to give Yi Shu another chance. So it's Senior Sun Jeping. I've been too inconsiderate. Lu Guaning found a chance to speak a few words and hastily said the words that a host should say. Even though he also played the berserker class, but he didn't do anything in particular for this god. He didn't show any more respect to him compared to a normal senior. And then, Senior, are you planning on returning? Lu Guaning asked. He didn't look at Sun Jeping being ancient god. He had become a pro player very young. Right now, he was still only 25 years old. Pro players nowadays underwent more scientific practicing. The length of their careers kept increasing. In the past, 25 was retirement age, but now, there were many players at this age struggling on stage. Their condition might not be as good as their prime years, but it was still early for them to retire. A 25-year-old could still come back to the stage and shine. Team Tyranny's extraordinary achievements this season made many forget the age of their three core players. Return, a bitter expression appeared on Sun Jeping's face. He slowly lifted his bandaged left hand. With my hand, I'm unable to cope with the fast-paced competitive scene. But what about just now? Chen Guo questioned. The intensity of the match between Yi Shu and Sun Jeping didn't lose out to any pro match. If not, the room wouldn't have been so shocked. It's fine if it's only from time to time, but I can't play for very long. If not, did you really think I would be scared to play a round against his battle mage? Sun Jeping said. The former number 1 berserker had left the competitive scene for a very long time, but he was still as proud and confident as ever. But the practice room instantly fell silent. Pain and bitterness hid underneath that pride. How could the onlookers not sense such a strong emotion? It had already been 4 years since his departure from the competitive scene. Sun Jeping could still beat Yi Chu though, which meant that he hadn't given up on glory yet. During these 4 years, in some unknown corner, how much effort had he put into glory? But in the end, this was the only outcome. How could they not feel that same pain? Old Lu, think you'd cheat? That's too despicable, no? Under this stifling atmosphere, someone suddenly spoke out. It was Lu Guaning's bad friend. Ahem, Lu Guaning coughed. In the end, that issue hadn't been forgotten. After seeing the confrontation between Sun Jeping and Yi Shu, he couldn't help but admit, I would not have been Senior's opponent. After saying these words, Lu Guaning ignored his bad friend. Then, he suddenly turned his head towards Sun Jeping as if he had made an important decision. Senior, are you interested in joining our team Heavenly Swords? Sun Jeping was surprised. Did you not hear me? I'm unable to deal with the fast pace of the competitive scene. I heard you clearly, but I also heard that an occasional match wouldn't be a problem. No, Lu Guaning said. Sun Jeping continued to be surprised. You need that type of player? Any pro player would cost quite a sum of money for the team. Spending this money to raise a player, who could only play a limited number of matches and suddenly step down because of a sudden injury, was something no team would want. When he heard Lu Guaning's invite, Sun Jeping was surprised, but he wasn't happy because he felt that Lu Guaning's invite was out of sympathy. That wasn't something he was willing to accept. Of course it's needed. Our team needs a high skill level senior to guide us. Even if you don't show up on stage, we still need you very much, Lu Guaning said. Sun Jeping hesitated. That was a solid reason, but it could also be an excuse for helping him. Then, he heard Yi Shu speak up. Yeah, I told you guys before. Your team should have an old general. Even if his strength isn't good, he'd still be of great help to your team's growth. Are you saying my strength is no good? Sun Jeping looked gloomy. Don't take it too personally, Yi Shu reminded him. Senior, consider it, Lu Guaning urged him. He wasn't pretending. Lu Guaning also didn't mind helping Sun Jeping out of sympathy. He dearly loved glory and was both a player and an owner. He wasn't like any of the other owners who only formed the team based solely on financial interest. His urging was truly because he wanted a god like Sun Jeping to join their team. If Sun Jeping really had recovered from his injury, Lu Guaning would have been more careful with his invitation. Even if the invitation was successful, it might not be handled well. Team Heavenly Swords didn't have an experienced player guiding them like Yi Shu had recommended them to have. It wasn't that Lu Guaning couldn't do it. With Team Heavenly Swords' financial resources and their momentum as a new team, finding this type of player wasn't difficult. In reality, it was because of Team Heavenly Swords' unusualness that he didn't do it. This Sun Jeping had the skill, but because of his injury, he couldn't participate in matches like a normal player. For Sun Jeping himself, it was truly a tragedy, but for Lu Guaning, someone like him was just too appropriate for their Team Heavenly Swords. Join us, Lu Guaning continued to urge sincerely. Sun Jeping was starting to feel tempted, seeing his attitude. I could give it a try. Sun Jeping finally nodded his head. Great, Lu Guaning was excited. Senior, what requirements do you have? Should we talk about the contract right now? The season's transfer window has already closed though. Senior, you'll have to wait until next season to come out on stage. I know that. Sun Jeping nodded his head. Then for the next half of the season, why not join our team? Happy, Yi Shu suddenly said. Chapter 932. For victory. Happy. In the Challenger League, Sun Jeping still cared greatly about glory, even knowing the current situation of the Challenger League. Yup, Yi Shu said joyfully, it's the Challenger League, so it's nowhere near as intensive. You can have a go and try to find your footing. You will also get a chance to go against Excellent Era in the Challenger League. Take it as a chance to get your revenge on them for taking your championship all those years ago. Everyone cast him a sidelong glance. The Excellent Era that had taken the championship from 100 Blossoms, wasn't it this god that had led them? Now he was talking as if he had nothing to do with the event. Yet before Sun Jeping could say anything, Yi Shu slapped the desk and shouted, "You're really a lucky one. There's only one more round until the offline matches begin. You can still make it. Otherwise, if you were just a bit late, you wouldn't have the chance with the offline matches starting." The rules of the Challenger League were that you could switch and add team members in the online elimination rounds. However, after arriving at the offline matches, it wasn't so lax. It was almost like actual pro matches. The way Yi Shu put it, it was like he was giving Sun Jeping a great opportunity. Everyone stared at the old god, stunned. Would Sun Jeping cherish this opportunity? Do you want me to help you take revenge on Excellent Era? Sun Jeping smiled coldly. Revenge? Yi Shu smiled. I just want to win. Good, it's the same for me too, Sun Jeping replied. Hero, let's go forth together, Yi Shu said. Sign me up. Sun Jeping flicked his hand and an account card flew towards Yi Shu. To register an account card for the Challenger League, you just had to swipe and log in with it. Good choice. Yi Shu caught the card, and immediately logged into the webpage to update Happy's team roster. The crowd was staring again. What? With just a few quick exchanges, a seemingly very important decision had been made just like that? By the time everyone came back to their senses, Chen Guo was the first to become excited. Their team had just gained a legendary member. Didn't this mean they had an even greater chance of defeating Excellent Era? As for Lu Guaning, in theory, Sun Jeping had already agreed to join Team Heavenly Swords, so he was technically already a member of Team Heavenly Swords. Even if he couldn't play for them this season, shouldn't he first make sure the team was okay with this before agreeing? Any normal boss would probably be pissed by this development, but Lu Guaning didn't mind, looking on cheerfully. Whatever, be happy, I'm leaving. Lu Guaning's bad friend stood up and prepared to leave with a casual goodbye. Sun Jeping, Yi Shu, they were all renowned figures in the glory circle, but he didn't care at all. You coming to my party tomorrow? Seeing his bad friend leave, Lu Guaning yelled after him. We'll see. His bad friend didn't even turn around, simply waving his hand and leaving. Lu Guaning didn't bother paying him attention anymore, turning around to smile at Yi Shu and co. After the events tomorrow, I'm throwing a party. Why don't you all come? Yi Shu, Chen Guo and the others looked at each other, expressing their agreement. Coming to B City this time was on Lu Guaning's invitation, so of course they'd have to go with him, as his guests. Then should we continue the tour? Senior's son can come along too, Lu Guaning offered. Okay, everyone nodded and continued their tour of Team Heavenly Swords Club with Lu Guaning as their guide. After that, they made arrangements for lunch and in the afternoon, Sun Jeping went to talk with Team Heavenly Swords about the details of their contract. Yi Shu and Co went to take a look around and then all ended up in the training room to play Glory. That night, the All-Stars weekend continued. Tonight's events were focused on pro player audience interaction. The game content tonight was a mod for Glory, but this sort of mod was designed officially. It would be released for players to download afterwards. For example, last year's All-Star Hurdle mod was very popular. Rumor had it that the Glory developers were planning on implementing these mods in the arena soon. What were the contents of tonight's All-Star Games event? This was a huge part of the suspense of the second day. Even the pro players that signed up didn't know the details. The opening ended and the event began. The first game's map was shown through the holographic projector. It was, surprisingly, a swimming pool and high above it was a springboard. There was no need for explanation, everyone could guess what the first game was about: diving. After the host called the all-star who would pick the audience members, the two of them explained the event together very cooperatively. Then, the all-star began to pick audience members. The all-star that had come up for the diving event was the captain of Team Void, Li Zan. As he picked, Chen Guo thought nostalgically of last year, when she and Tang Ru had gone up to participate in the event. Back then, she was just a Su Mucheng fan. Having the chance to interact with her idol at such a close distance had made her practically vibrate in excitement. Now a year had passed and her idol had become a friend that she could easily chat and gossip or go out for food and drink with. Chen Guo was very satisfied. The tiny herb stadium could fit 18,000 people, and the entire place was filled to the brim. Without Su Mucheng manipulating things this time, Yi Shu and Co hadn't been picked. After the 4 lucky audience members arrived on the stage, the pro players who were participating in this event had gone on stage as well. For the game's event, it was usually interaction between 4 lucky audience members, an all-star, and 3 normal pro players. However, for this diving event, there were 4 other pros apart from Li Zan who came down. What caught the attention of most was 2 ladies who came down together last, hand in hand. Next, we'll be grandly introducing 2 new faces to you. As the 2 sisters came down, the host was also yelling out a commentary. These 2 are the 2 rookies that Team Misty Rain managed to discover during the winter transfer window, Shu Qi, Shu Kexin. By their names, everyone should have already noticed that these 2 rookies are actually sisters. As for the characters they use in-game, many of you have probably noticed during the Christmas event: lower your head. None dare attack. 2 very imposing IDs. If we didn't know, who would have thought it was these 2 beautiful ladies? Since this was a games event, the introductions made by the host wouldn't be too serious. A close-up of the 2 sisters was also shown on the big screen. They wouldn't lie about it when they said they were beautiful. A ruckus immediately spread through the audience. Even when Li Zan had come down, the audience hadn't reacted with such vigor. It could be seen that beautiful women gained special treatment wherever they were. It was especially so since girls were relatively less common in online games and even less common in the pro circle. Under these circumstances, 2 girls had suddenly popped up, and they were beautiful sisters to boot. The audience seemed to have abruptly converted to Misty Rain fans, yelling and shouting. However, among these yells, the cries of support and encouragement were the minority. Most of it was just whistling and hooting. So it's them, Yi Shu couldn't help but lament. These 2 were rookies that had caught his eye and that he had tried to recruit, but ultimately went to Misty Rain. Now it seemed that apart from their skill, these 2 were quite something. Beautiful sisters, that was a very valuable selling point if played right. No wonder the 2 didn't even bother considering Yi Shu's invite before rejecting it. These 2 probably didn't only consider their competitive skill. They had thought about other perspectives from the start, wanting to become stars in all aspects. Thinking of this, Yi Shu couldn't help but sigh. As time went on and the alliance developed, the competitive aspect wasn't as pure and simple as it had previously been. At first, the players were only passively encouraged by their clubs to develop on the commercial side. Yet now, the players had started to think of their own values from different points of view. Because of this, the alliance would become greater, but Yi Shu hoped that the competitive aspect would at least be kept pure. This was because, looking at other developments in sports, when sponsors and money became a deeper part of it, the competitive aspect would start to become impure. People would start to consider looking good in the sport, or even play scripted matches. When the players all lost their competitive spirit, this competition would become nothing more than an entertainment program. Yi Shu hoped that a day like that would never arrive for Glory. By the time Yi Shu brought himself back to the present, the 9 on the stage had all joked around with the host for a bit. The reason for having 9 people participate was also revealed. The beautiful sisters Shu Qi and Shu Kexin wanted to do a synchronized dive. They knew the contents beforehand. Yi Shu could tell that Misty Rain wanted to use this year's All-Stars to promote the 2 sisters. The 2 sisters had the right to enter the rookie challenges, but the thing was, it was far better to promote the 2 together. In the rookie challenges, even if it wasn't a true fight, there was no 2-on-1. So if the sisters wanted to enter the stage together, they could only do so in other events. So, this diving event could show off the 2 sisters' synergy rather well. Splash! As the beautiful sisters' characters hit the water at the same time, there was thunderous applause. From the jump to all the movements made by skills in the air, the two characters had little to no deviation. Even the splash from the landing was similar. This had completely overshadowed the elegant movements made by all of the other participants. There was no need to talk about normal players, but just from the poise and timing, they had also outstripped the other pros by miles. There was a need for scoring with diving, and the system couldn't do something like that, so the job of scoring was given to the audience. Each seat had a scoring instrument, and the characters would be ranked by the total points they each gained. Each character jumped 3 times, and Shuki and Shukashin's synchronization was practically perfect with every jump. Their scores skyrocketed, leaving the other 7 in the dust and eventually winning the event without any doubt. The two had also managed to use this event to make a lasting impression on the audience. Shuki and Shukashin had become the hottest topic of this year's All-Stars. Misty Rain's promotion had exceeded expectations with just the first step alone. For the games event on the second day, there was a parkour and shooting mod after the diving one. Naturally, it was the pro players that won first with ease. After that came the audience challenges. For the pro sent out, it was as always one of the home team members. Tiny Herb sent Gao Yingji out, who easily defeated a few audience members, bringing the events of the second day to a close. Chapter 933. Cocktail Party. The third day of the All-Star weekend was always the main act. The All-Star competition actually only referred to this one day as well. 24 All-Stars would, on this day, be split into 2 teams of 12 to battle. If it wasn't for the fact that the All-Star weekend was more of a show than anything else and the players wouldn't be so serious about victory and defeat, this could be seen as the crème de la crème of matches. The teams for the 24 All-Stars was decided through official channels. On principle, they wouldn't divide the members of a team into different groups. Historically, the number of players coming from each team had always been a good number to work with, so there was no circumstance in which they ever had to forcibly separate the members of the teams in order to form 2 groups with an equal number of people. Today was no different. The 24 participants were harmoniously divided into 2 groups. Samsara's 3, Tiny Herb's 3, plus Wind Howl and 100 Blossoms pairs as well as Royal Style, Seaside Singles formed a team of 12. Tyranny's 4, Blue Rain's 3, plus the duos from Void and Misty Rain, as well as the single from 301 Degrees formed another team of 12. Though the split was peaceful, the alliance would usually separate the teams so that there would be some tension between the two. For example, last year's champions and runner-ups Samsara and Blue Rain wouldn't be placed together. Tiny Herb's Gao Yingji and Blue Rain's Lu Hanwen were the 2 most eye-catching rookies in the alliance, so their 2 teams were also on different sides, attempting to create a match between the 2. Wind Howl and 100 Blossoms veterans had both transferred to Tyranny, and Zhang Zhao's transfer was especially nerve-grating for 100 Blossoms fans, so these 2 teams were placed against Tyranny. Apart from that, they had to make sure that the divisions didn't repeat too much. After all, many gods always made it into the All-Stars year after year. What the audience wanted to see was different participants becoming teammates and opponents. If it was the same few people fighting each other every year, it would get tiring very quickly. These arrangements were to make the All-Stars as spectacular as possible. In reality, the All-Star competitions were usually rather dense. Even though everyone knew this was just a show, they also knew that this was a show that gained the attention of many fans. The normal players were all too willing to use this match to judge which characters did better or worse. The pro players didn't want the normal players to misjudge them so easily. In addition to that, there was the tension that was purposefully injected, so the All-Stars wouldn't give too much slack. However, there was one awkward reality that had plagued 2 consecutive years of the All-Star competitions. That was that there was only one healer among the All-Stars last year, Zhang Zhenji, and the same was true for this year too. The one thing that no pro team would ever be without was a healer. Healers were a very important aspect of the team competitions, so their skill had to be good. For the healers of each big team, it was hard to rank them by strength since they usually didn't battle. This meant that most healers got approximately the same amount of votes for each All-Stars. Zhang Zhenji was the current number 1 healer, but it was difficult to say how many of his votes were because of his identity as a master tactician. When talking about pure healing ability, there was one undeniable god of healing in the history of glory, and that was the player behind Tiny Herb's Paladin Wind Guard, Fang Shijian. It was a shame that he had retired after the 7th season when Tiny Herb won their second championship. It was after his retirement that the Alliance had fallen into this awkward situation of only having one all-star healer on stage. And by the looks of things, this awkward situation would continue for a while. The performance and skill among the current healers were steady, and there were no signs of anyone having abrupt improvement. As for the rookie healers, none of them seemed to have the same level of talent that Fang Shijian had, who rose up above the other experts. However, not having a healer wouldn't influence how spectacular the All-Stars were. In last year's All-Stars, the healerless side had gone wild, their team members unleashing burst after burst of intensive techniques, eventually defeating their opponents. It had to be said, however, that such a victory would probably only appear in the All-Star weekend. In this show, there wasn't as much pressure to win on the players, so they would be a lot more relaxed. There wouldn't be any particularly serious tactical limits either, so unpredictable situations weren't too unusual. For this year's All-Stars, the situation of these gods unleashing burst after burst of skill didn't appear again. The presence of a healer became the eventual deciding factor between the two sides. The side with Zhang Jinji obtained the victory for this year's All-Star competition. This season's All-Star weekend had come to an end. In comparison to last year, there wasn't as much to talk about, but it was still a highly successful All-Star weekend. As the event ended and everyone left, Lu Guaning's group had to exit via the pro player exit. Yi Shu's group of 4 made their way out by following the crowd. Lu Jianing had already arranged for a car to pick them up afterwards, directly taking the 4 directly to the cocktail party. Lu Guaning's party was in a place that wasn't very far from the Tiny Herb Stadium, so they arrived rather quickly. With Lu Guaning having notified the staff of their arrival, they made their way in without experiencing any hitches. Lu Guaning and co had already arrived at the party, dressed immaculately. Seeing Yi Shu's group arriving, they hurriedly came over to welcome them. So cool. It's just like watching a movie. Steamed Bun had obviously never seen such an event, and looked around in curiosity. Haha, Lu Guaning laughed. Chen Guo was more composed than Steamed Bun, and after looking around for a moment, she asked Lu Guaning in confusion, "How come I don't see anyone else?" Anyone else? Lu Guaning turned his head to look around a little. There weren't many people here, true, but it wasn't like there was no one here either. What did she mean by anyone else? Lu Guaning was bewildered. Chen Guo seemed to be afraid of missing anything and swept her gaze around again, carefully. I don't see any of them. Hearing this, Lu Guaning managed to decipher the meaning behind her words, smiling and saying, "You mean the other pro players? Of course they wouldn't be here. I didn't invite them after all." Chen Guo looked back in confusion. She had thought that this party was hosted in hospitality as a gathering for the teams out of friendship. Haha, it is Tiny Herb's turf, after all, Lu Guaning said. Chen Guo didn't understand, but Yi Shu did immediately. At first he had thought this party was a gathering for the teams, but now he realized that this guy truly had tact. This time's All-Star Weekend was hosted by Tiny Herb. Heavenly Swords might also be a home team, but if they used this occasion to throw a party, there would be suspicions of trying to steal the spotlight. Especially since Heavenly Swords was very conspicuous from the start. If they did such a thing now, the other teams probably wouldn't believe that this was done out of hospitality, but was rather a chance for this rich guy to gain attention and boast again. So, at this time, it wasn't very appropriate to invite the teams over for a party. Chen Guo's personality was rather bold, so she might not have considered such small details. After hearing what Lu Guaning had to say about Tiny Herb's turf, she was still rather confused and asked, "Then what are we here for?" "Making more connections with people is always a good thing," Lu Guaning said. "Who are all these people?" Chen Guo looked left and right. "Come on, I'll introduce you." Not many of the guests had come yet. Lu Guaning took care in guiding Chen Guo and the others, joining a random pair's conversations and introducing them. These two people were some sort of investment consultant and an executive director of a kind, rather imposing titles. No matter how big Chen Guo's internet cafe was, it wasn't very upscale, so she had never interacted with THSE kinds of people before. Then she heard Lu Guaning introduce her as Team Happy's boss and she finally understood the point of this party. Getting sponsors? Chen Guo quietly asked Lu Guaning after chatting about nonsense with the two for a bit. That's right, Lu Guaning nodded. It was only then that Yi Shu's group understood what connections Lu Guaning wanted them to make at this party. Bringing them here was extremely generous. Both being teams in the alliance, they could be considered rivals. Little Lu, you're really too nice. Chen Guo had completely accepted Lu Guaning by now, not having any further reason to dislike him. Chen Guo had no experience in this sort of situation, but she had guts and the heart to give her all to the team. She wanted to be a good boss, so she dutifully went to find people to establish connections with. With Chen Guo's openness, she was good at making friends on the fly, but her attitude became a little rude in this situation. Chen Guo evidently understood that as well, so she was careful to be a little more reserved. However, there were many people among Lu Guaning's guests that didn't really understand glory and its competitive scene, so Chen Guo was having some difficulty communicating. However, she refused to give up, still inserting herself into conversations wherever she could. This sort of thing wasn't something Steamed Bun could manage either. This guy acted like he was in a zoo, wandering around randomly and occasionally running back to Yi Zia's group to gush about something he had just seen. Whenever someone came up to talk to him, he would introduce himself as Steamed Bun and sometimes show them the tattoo on his left arm, shocking people left and right. Being able to expose your arm to this cold winter was rather impressive. As for Yi Shu and Tang Ru, the two stayed curled in a corner. Tang Ru had casually taken a glass of wine to sip it while Yi Shu held a very deep ashtray, going through cigarette after cigarette and filling the air around them with smoke. Tang Ru was a radiant-looking lady, yet no one had come up to talk to her, all thanks to Yi Shu. They didn't ask when the party ended. From when they arrived, guests continuously came in. Lu Guaning was at the center of it all, being able to chat a bit with everyone, no matter their age or gender. Then, when he glanced over at Yi Shu and Tang Ru, he tapped his glass twice and dragged Happy into the spotlight. Today, I have a few good friends that I would like to introduce to everyone. This guy, Yi Shu, was helpless and could only come over with the others cooperatively as they were introduced. Who would have thought that after this introduction, a voice of discord would appear in the party? Ha 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 ha, since when did a bunch of gamers get so serious as if they did anything of note? Everyone turned to look at the voice. The owner was a tall, handsome young man. He was rather rude, but he looked to be gentle and refined with an extraordinary air. Who on earth is this? Yi Shu asked Lu Guaning. No idea, Lu Guaning replied. I say, isn't this your party? Yi Shu was a little exasperated. I threw it very casually and didn't send out invites, so anyone who passes by can come in and see what's going on, Lu Guaning answered. Chapter 934. Hand Speed. So in reality, the people that we're meeting today, you've only known since today, as well. Yi Shu looked at Lu Guaning. Ha 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 ha. Actually, my social life is mostly based in glory as well. You should understand, Lu Guaning said. Yi Shu was speechless. He understood this all too well. That meant, though Lu Guaning looked like a social butterfly, he was, in fact, a hermit that was completely obsessed with gaming. However, his identity and background was different, so we managed to fit in here naturally. You seem pretty familiar with this place? Yi Shu asked. Yi Shu and co didn't even need invites to get into this private club. With just a single notice from Lu Guaning and they could enter and exit at will. It was clear that he had good relations with this place's owner. Of course, we always come here to play glory, after all, Lu Guaning explained. Impressive, Yi Shu gave Lu Guaning a resolute thumbs up. A year's worth of membership in this sort of club might cost several $100,000, maybe even over $1 million. Playing glory here and playing glory in an internet cafe were two completely different concepts. The two were still chatting over here when Chen Guo had long since charged over to the guy with reckless abandon. What did you say? Chen Guo was very clear on the fact that anyone who could come here would all be rich and upscale. The young man in front of her looked like that too, obviously not a normal person. However, being mocked like this wasn't something that she could take sitting down. Yelling like that, you've used too much commoner's language, haven't you? The young man glanced at Chen Guo, not moved by the fact that she was a beautiful woman, and continued to mock at them without care. All you people know is how to play games. You don't know what to do with your lives and remain uncultured and uneducated. Does your existence truly have any value? Chen Guo was even more angry, but she couldn't help but admit that what the young man said was a rather common view in many parts of society. Even though Glory's pro circle was so active and grand nowadays, there were still many who didn't view gaming as any sort of worthwhile skill. When Chen Guo was chatting with all these people before, she had gotten such a feeling as well. For these people, Glory was no more than a tool they could use to earn money. Speaking of Glory's commercial future was much more effective than talking with them about how interesting or how classic this game was. They didn't care what game this was or how interesting it was, all they saw was what profits this game could bring them. As for pro players? In their eyes, pros were just cash trees. What pro players dedicated to this game was something these people wouldn't understand. I don't have anything to say to people like you. Chen Guo wasn't a particularly eloquent person, her emotions were intensely felt, but hard to express with words. She could only bite out these words without thinking it through. Haha, see? Uneducated. Of course you can't say anything. As for people like me, well, we can't be compared to people like you. You can't say that now. Yi Shu finally walked over. Many players of Glory are talented in many ways. For them, gaming is just a way of relaxing, a hobby. It's no different from if you come to this club to drink a little or go for a few rounds of cards. I'm sorry, I wasn't talking about those people who see games as a pastime. I'm talking about you, pro players who don't know anything but playing games. Who says that all we know is how to play games? Yi Shu said. Really? The young man's gaze swept across the room before alighting on a corner and he smiled, saying, then do you have any sort of talent that you can show everyone? How about the piano or some other kind of musical instrument? Why don't you play a song for us? The corner which the young man had set his gaze on had a piano sitting there. This could be a decoration, or you could find someone to play tunes on it, or one of the guests could come up and play something for everyone. With those words, he turned to Yi Shu with a mocking expression, as if certain that the other would only humiliate himself here. Musical instruments? Yi Shu paused. Talent doesn't necessarily mean music, no? Haha, then what can you do? Drink tons without getting drunk? The young man laughed exaggeratedly, glancing left and right as if expecting people to laugh with him. There were people who laughed with him, but everyone was very reserved in their laughter. No one openly laughed aloud. I apologize, but I'm even worse at alcohol. Then I'll play a tune, as you suggested, Yi Shu said. What did you say? The man widened his eyes, face full of surprise. Yi Shu ignored him, walking over to the piano under the shocked stares of many people, including Lu Guaning and Chen Guo. I say, Yi Shu suddenly spoke up again, do you know how to play, having challenged me to do so? Of course, despite his expression of disbelief, he still replied with confidence. That's good. Yi Shu reached out and pressed a random key before saying, I'm going to play a tune. After that, I don't need you to play it any better, I just want you to show me that you, too, can play the original tune. Ha ha ha. The person didn't wait for Yi Shu to finish before laughing again. You don't know how to play and are just going to play randomly, aren't you? Don't you think such tricks are rather boring? Yi Shu smiled slightly, not explaining. His hands were already on the keys. Wow, this god has much more depth to him than he shows, Lu Guaning breathed out in awe. This really is quite deep, Chen Guo, who had just walked over, said, still stunned. As they talked, Yi Shu had already begun to play. Like a storm that arrived without warning, it came suddenly, a burst of wild notes like an explosion, darting into everyone's ears. What is this? Chen Guo was shocked, Lu Guaning stared dumbly, yet Tang Ru had already found humor with just a few notes, laughing very very cheerfully. What? Chen Guo hurriedly asked. From what she heard, it sounded like Yi Shu was just slamming on keys randomly. Flight of the Bumblebee, Tang Ru said. What? Chen Guo was confused. This tune is called Flight of the Bumblebee. It's a tune with a very fast rhythm, most people play it to show off their hand speed, Tang Ru explained. Hand speed? Chen Guo was stunned for a moment, before finally understanding why Tang Ru was smiling. How shameless, that's just bullying, Chen Guo said with a massive grin. Yup, he's definitely bullying him, Tang Ru nodded. That guy definitely can't play this, right? Chen Guo watched the young man, delighting in his misfortune. The young man's face was twisted in shock, seeming to have no idea what to do. Not just him. At this pace, there's probably no one on Earth that can manage it, Tang Ru said. You've got to exaggerating, Chen Guo was shocked. At least not that I know of. Tang Ru also felt like she had exaggerated a little too much and hurriedly corrected herself. With just these few sentences, Yi Shu finished his performance. Because he was so fast, it was just several tens of seconds before Yi Shu had finished the tune. The crowd was silent, looking at Yi Shu wide-eyed. Out of the people here, there was probably none that didn't understand music at all, and that was why everyone was so shocked. Should we clap? Chen Guo whispered at Tang Ru. Probably not, Tang Ru said. How come? Actually, apart from being fast and accurate, there's nothing of note about the performance itself, Tang Ru explained. He probably learned the song just to train his hand speed, Chen Guo guessed. I think so, Tang Ru said. Anyone who had any form of accomplishment in music all shared Tang Ru's thoughts. Such a fast performance was worthy of applause, but the problem was that this guy only pursued speed and nothing else. Any sort of tune had content and emotion, but this performance had pretty much no artistic aesthetic behind it. You could even say that this performance didn't even have rhythm, it was just fast, fast, and faster, as fast as possible. Apart from that, he had been accurate. Applause for this sort of performance? Everyone felt like that was a disrespect to art. Yi Shu didn't seem to care about this, standing up once he had finished and asked the perpetrator casually, should I give an encore? You, the man was a little panicked, but luckily he was someone with some skill and understanding. Your performance was just fast, you don't understand anything about music. Don't put it like that. All you can say is I'm not very accomplished in music, but I did, at least, manage to accurately play a piece, right? You're up next, Yi Shu said with a smile. The man's face was red, unable to say a word. Seems like you can't manage it, what a shame, then. I didn't agree to anything. This guy was evidently afraid that Yi Shu would use this against him to humiliate him in front of everyone and luckily cut Yi Shu off before Yi Shu could make any sort of arrangements, and Yi Shu didn't continue. In the current moment, he couldn't be bothered with civilities anymore, grabbing onto this like a lifeline and hanging on shamelessly. I never had you agree to anything, but you really can't play it, can you? Yi Shu said. There's no meaning to this sort of performance anyways. The guy made an excuse. Well, since you can't play it, then I can only deem you as someone who doesn't know what to do with their life and is uncultured and uneducated, Yi Shu said. The young man was enraged, but someone tugged at him. Turning his head, he saw it was one of the employees from the club. Young Master Lu, you're drunk. Hearing of what was happening, the staff of the club hurriedly came over. In the end, what they saw was the end of this young master's thorough humiliation. On their way, they had already learned of the situation and knew it was this man that had been the perpetrator of this trouble. Lu Guaning and co usually were holed up in the club playing glory, rarely appearing in these social situations, so not many people recognized them. This young man obviously didn't realize this, so he had no idea what sort of background the one who threw this party had. Seeing the pro players being introduced, he had resolutely began mocking them out of disdain. If he knew the background of the one that threw this party, he wouldn't have made such a huge ruckus of this, even if he was disdainful. He didn't have any sort of grudge, after all. The club staff came to smooth things out. They couldn't afford to anger any of these people and didn't dare to show favoritism to any side. If they started calling people out, that would be excessive. That would be forcing one side to bow, and would probably anger a lot of people. So these staff came and gave this white lie in order to give one side a way out. If both sides could compromise, then this thing would soon be over. It was unfortunate that with the enraged young Master Lu, this became a futile hope. I'm not drunk. The man referred to as young Master Lu responded angrily, seeming to be unwilling to let go. Chapter 935. Could I trouble you? How was I? Yi Shu stopped paying attention to young Master Lu, who was arguing incessantly, and returned to his little clique. Your hand position is too ugly, Tang Ru sighed. My left hand's okay, but my right hand always feels a bit twisted, Yi Shu said. Why? Chen Guo asked. My right hand is used to holding a mouse, Yi Shu said. Quote. You probably only know how to play that piece, don't you? Chen Guo said. Of course not, Yi Shu said proudly. Oh, Chen Guo was surprised. I know one other song, Yi Shu said. Chen Guo was once again rendered speechless. Knowing one piece or two was practically the same thing, no? It seemed like he only played the piano to practice his hand speed. Which other one? Tang Ru was quite interested. Pathétique third movement, Yi Shu said. Oh, Tang Ru nodded her head. What's that? Chen Guo didn't feel ashamed to ask. Beethoven's Sonata Pathétique. It consists of 3 movements. The third movement has a fast tempo, Tang Ru said. Chen Guo stared at Yi Shu. Her expression was complicated. It was hard to connect the guy in front of her and a famous musician like Beethoven, even in this situation. Young Master Lu felt even more unhappy when he saw them chatting pleasantly together. He completely ignored the club staff, who had tried to give him a way out of this embarrassing situation, and walked over. I'm not done. Don't run. Do you need another show of talent? Would you like me to show everyone some boxing? Steamed Bun heard his words and jumped out excitedly. Boxing? Young Master Lu stared blankly. From his hesitation, that didn't seem to be something he was good at. Are you threatening me? Young Master Lu looked at the guy, who was waving his fists around eagerly. Steamed Bun looked puzzled. Threaten? Isn't this a talent show? I do it once, then you do it. If you can't do it, then you lose. Young Master Lu was furious. This guy must be trying to humiliate me. I haven't even finished settling that previous grudge and now this guy wants to take the initiative to strike at me. If you want to play this game, then I should be allowed to go first. The rest is the same. How about it? Young Master Lu said. That's reasonable. Steamed Bun nodded his head. What are you going to be performing? I'm going to play a piece too. If. What? I thought you didn't know how to. Steamed Bun interrupted and questioned him. Who says I don't? Young Master Lu roared. You just said that you couldn't, Steamed Bun said. How does that count? I'm going to be playing real music, Young Master Lu shouted. Real music? What's that? Steamed Bun didn't understand. You'll know soon. Young Master Lu smiled with confidence and strode over to the piano. He knew very well that it was astonishing how the way that guy played the piece with purely speed and without rhythm nor musicality, it didn't mean anything. That guy had actually played a clever trick. However, speed alone couldn't capture an audience. Young Master Lu believed in his piece. Just based on the types of people here, his audience had superior taste. That guy's way of playing was only good for scaring plebeians who didn't understand music. As if he was scared of being blocked, young Master Lu quickly dashed over to the piano. The party had gone down to a standstill. Everyone was watching the ongoing drama, but when young Master Lu began playing his piece, everyone was gradually enamored by the music. Even for someone like Chen Guo, who couldn't appreciate the complexities of music, could recognize that young Master Lu was on a higher level than Yi Shu through just the simple reasoning that it sounded good. He really is quite good, Tang Ru nodded her head. Should we give him a round of applause? Yi Shu didn't really care. You're planning on bringing things to a conclusion? Chen Guo asked. Do you think ignoring him would be a good idea? Yi Shu said. Despicable, Chen Guo wasn't happy. Putting it plainly, this time, Yi Shu had left too big of an opening. He gave the other side an opportunity to counterattack. Even Chen Guo could tell that young Master Lu was a superior piano player, let alone the others at the party. By the time that guy finished, he would arrogantly follow up with a provocation and push Yi Shu into doing something beyond his ability. Ignoring him was too shameful of a solution. Have little Tang go up against him, Yi Shu said. Oh, Chen Guo looked at Tang Ru. Look at how clear she is on this subject and you'll know that she's an expert, Yi Shu said. Really? Chen Guo had always felt like Tang Ru wasn't an ordinary person. If you compare me to Yi Shu, then I dare to call myself a god, Tang Ru smiled. Then what about compared to him? Chen Guo said. Tang Ru smiled, but didn't reply. During their conversation, young Master Lu had finished his performance. The audience gave a sincere round of applause. Young Master Lu seemed very satisfied with his performance and politely bowed to express his gratitude, thanking the audience for knowing what was what. The audience recognized true gold and wouldn't get swindled by that guy's little trick. I say, young Master Lu looked over to their side smugly. Now it's my turn to fight a round of boxing, right? Steamed Bun jumped out excitedly. Quote. I'll go. Tang Ru smiled and stepped forward. Young Master Lu saw that it wasn't Yishu and was surprised. He stood still, not moving. I can't, Tang Ru said. You're also a pro player, young Master Lu said. I'm still a bit lacking compared to a pro player, but becoming a pro player is my goal, Tang Ru said. Young Master Lu had been confident with his performance, so he displayed some grace in front of this beauty. He didn't say anything more and moved aside, inviting her to use the piano. Tang Ru nodded her head as if to give a greeting to everyone and sat down. Her two hands stroked the keyboard. In an instant, piano sounds danced about. Fast. Tang Ru played very fast, but it wasn't like Yishu who only pursued speed. All of his notes had been squeezed together with practically no pauses. Tang Ru also played fast, but her playing had purpose and followed a certain tempo. Despite the fast tempo, every note was solid and steady, displaying her extremely deep fundamentals. Ah, it sounds familiar. Chen Guo heard Tang Ru's piece and felt pleasantly surprised. That's the other piece that I know how to play, Yishu said. Beethoven's Sonata Pathétique Third Movement. I've heard of it before, Chen Guo was surprised. There are a lot of famous pieces that are recognized by everyone. Many just don't know the name of the piece, that's all, Yishu said. Then the piece you played wasn't famous, Chen Guo said. Maybe you would have recognized it if someone else played the piece, Yishu said. Little Tang is playing better than that guy, right, Chen Guo said. Can't you tell just from everyone's reactions? Yishu smiled. Yishu had shocked everyone, but that was because they didn't think the piece could be played at such speed. On the other hand, young Master Lu's serenade had been quite good, and everyone expressed their appreciation towards it. However, Tang Ru's performance was both shocking and appreciative. It was beyond their expectations. As for young Master Lu, the look on his face was even more brilliant. Even though he had been shocked by Yishu's performance, he didn't feel embarrassed because he understood that even if he could repeat that same performance, it would just be a joke. Who played the piano like that? However, Tang Ru's performance gave him a feeling of powerlessness. When it was obvious who played better than the other, the disparity between the two sides wasn't small. Young Master Lu could not be blamed. Only those at a professional level could give rise to such a feeling of powerlessness in him. The audience erupted into an applause after the final note. Tang Ru politely expressed her thanks to everyone and smiled towards young Master Lu. I feel sorry that a pianist at your level wants to become a pro player, young Master Lu said. Then I'll have to trouble you, Tang Ru said. Aren't you letting down your family with that choice? Young Master Lu said. I'll also have to trouble you with her family. A voice drifted over from the main entrance to the party. Everyone turned their heads to see who it was. When they saw the speaker, the expressions of many in the audience changed. There were clearly many who recognized this person, and in this type of club, someone who was recognized by the vast majority of the people here clearly wasn't someone simple. Even young Master Lu's expression couldn't help but change when he turned his head to see the speaker. His expression was filled with disbelief. This person had come over with a glass of wine. He clearly wasn't here for Lu Guaning's party. He walked over to the piano and everyone in his path moved out of his way. When I heard those piano notes, I thought it was you. The newcomer walked directly towards the piano. He didn't even glance at young Master Lu and started talking directly to Tang Ru. Tang Ru didn't say anything. She simply chuckled naughtily. Why are you here? The newcomer asked. I dropped by with some of my friends, Tang Ru said. Oh, the newcomer came with Tang Ru over to Yishu's little circle. This is my father, Tang Ru introduced. Yishu and the others looked at each other. They felt that Tang Ru wasn't simple. Yishu had been wondering if she had run away from home like he had, but from how the father and daughter spoke to each other, their relationship seemed very normal. If she had ran away from home, it would have been surprising if she wasn't beat to death. These three are your friends? Father Tang looked at Yishu's group and smiled. Yeah. Yishu, Chen Guo, Steamed Bun, Tang Ru introduced one after the other. It's Bao Rongxing. Hi, uncle, Steamed Bun replied rather enthusiastically. Hi everyone, Father Tang greeted. His next few words were ordinary words, expressing how he was indebted to everyone for taking care of his daughter. As for the other guests, they had gathered over almost like they were lining up. They were clearly trying to get an opportunity to say a few words to him. However, after Father Tang said a few normal words to Yi Shu and the others, he gave a toast to everyone and then pulled Tang Ru to the side to talk. Yi Shu and the others didn't know what exactly Father Tang's identity was, but judging from how 80% of the searches for the surname resulted in him, Tang Ru was at the very least the daughter of a very influential family. Keeping one's own counsel, Chen Guo sighed. Hey, that what's his name isn't done yet. Don't run. At this moment, Lu Guaning suddenly leapt out. Everyone looked over and saw young Master Lu getting ready to slip away. After having enough fun watching the show, now you come out to say something, Chen Guo said. I was having so much fun that I almost forgot that this was my party, Lu Guaning said.